Right, welcome to My Life. And we have an absolutely exciting panel today. We're going to be talking about what is freedom. Oh my God, it's such a difficult word, but it's actually, maybe it's an easy word as well. I don't know. Maybe let's see where we actually end up. But with me, I have today Mika Heinonen and Aapo Summanen. And I'm Niklas Christides. And we are all kind of, heavily on the holistic journey and side. And it's going to be, in that sense, really exciting to see how we are still very different. And I think we're going to use quite a lot of our backgrounds and stories to help express how we actually perceive freedom and what it is to us. And then everybody else, hopefully you can take something home from that. But let's start with Mika. Mika, do you want to briefly introduce yourself if somebody doesn't know you already?
Oh, thank you so much, Niklas. I work as an entrepreneur on holistic field, and what I really do is I help people to change things within them, and more precisely within their mind, so that things that stop them from being who they truly are, and that's very interesting because that's something I really perceive as freedom also. And funny thing is that the company that I represent is called Ole Vapaa, which in English is be free. So this is a very important topic for me. So thank you very much for inviting me here with you guys. It's amazing. It's very a pleasure.
Excellent. Thanks, Mika. I think that's so good. That's like the calling is like when things just sit, and the subjects come to you that are supposed to come to you. So this is part of probably what we're going to be talking, and why does that happen? And you're obviously, Aapo, you have a lot of background within the sports field, and now you are doing a lot on the coaching side. So there's been a big change in your life from being a performer to now being the one that guides. And for myself, I'm obviously a jack of all trades. So, I don't really know. We'll see. But Aapo, do you want to give us a start into this? Because I think I like the orienteering concept that you're doing at the moment. Where do you want to tell us briefly about that? And do you think that it actually also is related to freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. Life orienteering is definitely about finding one's own personal freedom. And before that, I want to jump back to this, what you said about my situation now. And this is truly amazing adventure to be with you two here and diving in. I hope your listeners as well. Each moment you may have another new insight opening to another level of freedom. And I felt I was very free when I could do the sport and just run around wherever I wanted and in the forest and every day running, and that's when I feel very free. And now when you said that now I have changed, the situation has changed, I started wondering, actually, was that the freedom, or actually what happened with my knee, my injury, that is actually made me free finally, kind of. So that's what is freedom, what is not freedom. So now I feel I'm free to do everything else, and I'm not free to go running. So
I love that. So because you had a setback, and the setback has made you free.
Yeah, definitely, in many ways. And when I start diving deeper into what it gives me, I can find more and more layers of freedom, layers of some conditioning and programming that had led me to that situation. And so about life orienteering is a concept, a coaching method program for groups and also individuals that we go deep into nature together in a supporting environment, so like emotional supporting environment where each individual can find their true freedom, what they truly are here in their own heart, and start building a new life from that point.
Awesome. So what about Mika then, in terms of your own freedom? Because we want to talk about this subject because it has a kind of a dimension that maybe some people would find it difficult or even challenging to understand what we're talking about. So I think it's better we talk from our own perspective, because then people can understand what we reference to. What's your freedom, take on freedom, and your journey to freedom? Or are you even there?
I find that I'm not there yet. So it's definitely, the journey is still it's going on. Because what I feel that freedom for me is, it means that I can truly be who I am. So I can release the full aspect and full perspective of who I truly am. I can release it to the world, and that's definitely something that it's very hard for us, because I believe that when we are born here, we are ourselves, and we truly know who we are. But then what happens is life happens. So we have family where there are other people who are our teachers in this lifetime, and they start teaching us things, and then we start piling rocks on top of our true self, and then we are hiding there. And at some point of our lives, I hope most of us try to find who we are and try to express who we are. And actually, what I think who we are is something so beautiful that it's actually maybe too much for some of us. What I was actually thinking today was, when I was driving back from, I was in the supermarket buying some groceries for family, and I was thinking that my wife is just amazing. Like, she has taken all this time and she has been bearing who I have been, like, because I haven't been myself. Who I really am is yet to be seen here. And she's just amazing, because she can take it all before I am who I am, but she knows that it's worth to wait until I am who I am. And she's actually pretty much already who she truly is. Of course, there are some, aspects that she also wants to change, or herself, and or dig deeper to find those wounds and heal those wounds, and then become herself. But it's so much fun to do it together, this travel. But what is actually the most important thing to understand, that we all have our free agency. So we can decide how we act on this journey, and how we heal ourselves. Or if we don't want to, we don't have to. But it's really up to us to choose the personal freedom and really start walking towards it. But it's actually the most important value for me is freedom, definitely, because that's something that gives us our true power.
I love that. And I love the thing that, you said that we are free from the beginning. I believe the same thing. I also kind of, I was thinking whilst driving back today about this subject, and that it's very interesting, because it's a subject of perspective also. And as with so many things, it's a lot about how we end up defining this particular word or the question for each one of us. And in the power of definition, there is an interesting also dimension, that it means different things for different people who have experienced different things. So for me as well, I feel that I am actually, I've been free, but my perception of freedom throughout my journey in this life has been sometimes clouded. So but it's in a similar way to what you said. It's about the piling of rocks and this thing. So, but it's the way that we all kind of, we all have the ability to create our own vision of our life, and most people do. Some people copy their neighbor's view, and then they want to be like that. But everybody who who is a little bit more open creates, at least to some perspective, an own perception of freedom, which is beautiful. And this is probably why we don't really understand each other, because we all have a different perception. So, you know, respect comes from understanding that we all are unique in a way. And freedom is it's something that's there. It's there, it's available. It's just how we want to look at it. This is my view. So what about Aapo then? What do you think? Is this just crazy or?
It's absolutely crazy for sure, and probably freedom is crazy. At least if you haven't been free and then you open to freedom, then it for sure feels crazy. Or if you look someone who is free and you may be thinking about crazy, like you said, it's about the point of view totally. And now while I'm processing this energy, I'm seeing my life in another perspective already, and can find new layers of freedom. And for sure, then can be like physical freedom, emotional freedom, what kind of thinking you have, freedom for thinking, and energetical freedom, and like I love to go back to nature. I feel safe there, very safe with the supporting energy, and with some very resonating friends also, like with you. I feel very free. So there are many elements in the environment that can set us free, and then also inside there are many tools I can do where I feel more free, and I love to go back to running, and that's one of the most freeing experiences when I'm running, like only with shirts, and it's warm in some Lapland, and I feel like flying, and then I'm like melting together with the surrounding. That's more or less one way to feel freedom. What about you? When do you feel the most free? When, Mika, do you feel like now I'm free? I'm feeling this freedom.
Whenever I can express joy, which is the very high application of love. So when I am in the flow, like Niklas was talking there earlier about flow, and if we are in the flow, then we can actually express who we are. So we have the direction where we are going, and we just we just go there, and everything happens very smoothly. So that's when I feel that I'm the most free. And when can we kind of like get that situation, and when does it happen? It happens when we develop enough virtues, so that we can come from the lower frequencies of like different emotions like guilt or shame or anger, and we can rise above those and come back to love, where we actually come from. And then we can express love through joy. And that's the most freeing experience that I've ever experienced, because it's just joy. I can laugh, out loud, and express who I am, and give the divine good, just what comes through me here for other people. And that's when I feel the most free.
And then you can definitely be free, no matter the outside circumstances. You can be free with your inner energy, with your inner vibration.
Definitely, and I can be the closest for who I truly am, and that's what we are supposed to do here. We are supposed to tear all the garbage of ourselves and show who we are and give it to other people. That's why I believe we are here.
That's exactly the point. I think it's really interesting. I've been writing my first book for a while, and it's going to be called Soul Flow. I don't know exactly what the particular sort of like focus will be on the first one yet, because it's such a wide aspect. But what's interesting is that in this thought process, I've been talking a lot about in Finnish tasavirta, but in English it's like balanced flow, which is that rather than living life through this constant wave of uncertainty, and going between these stages. It's about actually stabilizing and creating more flow that is stable. But what's interesting is that the vibration, the more stable it is, the vibration is higher. So this is the thing, I think, where we get there. And it's like exactly what Mika, you said. It's about the joy, and it's about enjoying to give. And we can give in so many ways. We can give in love, we can give in loving people, we can give in loving our partners, children, the world, nature, like Aapo said, ourselves. We can give in so many ways. But what's really interesting is that we need to do it on I think, I'm not sure yet, because I've not had time to it seems to be a long process to document everything and experience everything. So but from the things I have experienced, I've kind of come to the conclusion that we need to do this on all of the aspects to actually arrive in this stable flow. And that's, I think it's a really rewarding thing, because when you start giving unconditionally, you actually, you don't just get all of a sudden, it doesn't just give you back. It's all about, there is a process with the mind and the heart and the soul. And before the soul rewards you, there has to be time in between. And it's really interesting how that manifests itself, I think. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that, Mika? I'll throw the ball to you, because this is I want to hear what you say.
Yeah, I feel the same. Exactly. So truly, as I already mentioned, it's about kind of like expressing our soul's desire. So what we truly want to give on this time here, as I think we all agree about this concept. So that we have been here also before, and maybe also again. But so what is it that this time that our soul has promised for Creator, God, whatever you call it, this energy that creates everything, that we are going to give for other creatures here at this kind of like timeline that the Earth has going on here. So that's what I believe, and when we can do that, we can of course experience this immense joy, which is huge. But the law of free agency gives also us the possibility to suffer through that through that experience. So if we let our ego come in, and ego is all about suffering and not so high vibrational emotions, then we can also have not so good experiences. But I believe that we all have possibility to experience this through joy, and the joy is the key. So whatever it is that we have to heal in our childhood, or in any area of our life, we should do that. We should really have the courage and the bravery to look into ourselves and find the one. If we cannot do it ourselves, we should send the request, send the prayer, and ask for the person who can come into our life and help us release all that garbage. And usually that person is at least for me, it's my wife. She's my soulmate. So she's here to help me to get rid of all that. And then we can actually, together we can express what we are to give here to world, to other people, to other souls, and really enjoy and be enjoy during while we do that. So it's very exciting concept, and actually it's very simple. It's not it's very simple. It's very easy. Just when you accept that, and you are going to take that path and walk that path and be in the flow.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because I was watching Aapo's picture again. We've sometimes talked about Yoda, and it's funny that he's there again, and he would most certainly say, and I think probably says as well in some of the movies, that you shouldn't run from things. you need to be, you need to go into the dark places, you need to go into the places of light, you need to be there, you need to, and like Mika, you say, it's courage also. It's courage to be alive that makes us free to an extent. It's there's a link to that courage, to not running from things, because when we run from things, we start to carry a lot of stones, and we start to put those stones back on top of us, right? Those stones that you were talking about. Yeah, we go and we pick them and we start putting them on. So and I think that's really one of the things. And isn't it up for you as well? When it's interesting, your transition lately, particularly about holistically. So the freedom concept itself is changing to, surely, I think, in your mind and in your heart, and through that in your soul.
Totally, all the time. And like I can see, I have been searching for freedom from many places, from the forest, from running, from economical situation, from money, and that's like a never-ending trail. And instead finding it from the joy, or actually returning to the joy we always have had. And so what about giving some tools? Could we give some little exerciseable tools now, like A, B, C, D, E, or so, for listeners, like how to find easily, or sometimes it's not easy, it doesn't have to be easy, but ways to find back the joy we had when we were a child, and how to take layers away and simply start to do right now one step towards like fulfilling long-lasting joy.
Definitely, yeah. What I would suggest for people, actually, I believe that anybody can do this, is through meditation, through going back to the time when you had the most immense joy when you were a child, as you said, Aapo. So go back there and see what happened, what took the joy away, and rewrite that story. And what is usually, because I work with people with their subconscious beliefs and their emotional, tragedies and trauma and stuff like that, is usually there's someone that we need to forgive within our our own mind, to release the trauma experience or whatever it is that keeps us from being in the flow and in the joy. So meditate to the moment and remember what happened, what kind of like stopped your joy, and then forgive that person. Maybe it was ourselves, so maybe we need to forgive ourselves and let the joy come back into our every cell, because we have in ourselves, actually we have like, we can receive emotions in our every cell, and we have receptors in our every cell for emotions. So let those emotions come back to our body and feel those emotions also. Feel it in our heart, starting from our heart, and let it spread through our body. And if we are able to do that, and I believe that everybody with practice can do that, then we can start feeling maybe shorter moments of joy, but then it grows and it grows and it grows. And maybe one day, we can be who we truly are and express the joy, the application of love to people around us. And that is something that's really going to change this planet. And what happens is that maybe we become closer to these high masters like Jesus and Buddha, and then we can spread just through our energy field those emotions, and people can start also feeling those emotions, and then they can rise higher and higher. And I believe that is just what's going to happen in this planet during these times.
Everybody can be Jesus.
Mm.
I think it's just that we block ourselves from the ability to think that it could be true. And I think absolutely brilliant takes there. And I think the thing that I'd say about, well, I'll mirror myself because it's the one that I at least know. So to some extent, for me, curiosity is the bedrock to actually unlock the joy, or at least it worked for me in this way. So for me, wherever I've gone, the one thing that I've always embraced is curiosity, facing new things. Wherever I go, even, it may sound weird, but, I can even kind of like, somebody asked me about money and how we should, what is the relation, what is the role of money in the world? And I kind of said that, it's a means, and if you know how to view things, if you know how to split everything, you can even count what it costs for, like, let's say, your shoe as you're walking and the wear and tear of it. It's just very minimal, the actual thing. So it's with me, so the curiosity, and this is just an example of saying what we can do with our mind, and when we're curious and open to things. So curiosity, when it's open and it's really like flowing, it's when we receive a totally different knowledge about everything around. And we, like, money doesn't matter, but it's the question. It's just, if somebody asks you, you can actually explain it. You can go like, yeah, look, can you think about that, rather than just think about that coin? What does it represent? Is there some deeper knowledge in this? In everything there is deeper knowledge, and it's our curiosity that allows us to get in touch with that knowledge. If we don't ask, and this is why people with vibration, I believe, or we all have it, but the people who are able to like feel, what vibration are we creating here? Do we have a good flow or a bad flow? We are a little bit in touch with that because we embrace it. We are curious towards it as well. So we can feel, we can sense in a different way the world around us. And it's something everybody can do. But if we're not curious, we cannot open any doors, because we cannot ask the right questions, and we cannot get and arrive there. So, and again, it goes to that curiosity needs to be around everything, like even not only the things we perceive as enjoyable or something, everything. Be curious about everything. Why have I worked in Soma? Why am I a jack of all trades? It's because I'm curious. I'm curious about Mika's nose or Aapo's hair, or whatever it is. Like it all flows all the time, and over time it can actually become that it's just like a mass of information, that just knowledge that is floating around, and we're just in it. We're just part of it, and it's lovely.
Beautiful curiosity. That's definitely like a child's mind like activity, opens to the joy. And what comes now up to my mind is that I can find like more or less a bulletproof way to freedom is it came to my mind, but the way is to go out from my mind. So it's the way to down laskeutua. I don't know what's the English, like
to surface, to kind of like come down and
drop,
land,
landing here in heart. Because if I'm here in the mind, in the brain, that's not the way to be free. Definitely not. That's always something from outside, some worry or something can take my freedom away. And this brain is designed for surviving, and that's pretty far from freedom. So dropping here, learning to drop with consciousness and heart connection, and because there is always some movement, life, expansion in this heart area, or other places might be that way as well. Anyway, heart that's one way, one ticket to heaven, to freedom, and the only way to really live is to really love, and that's also here.
Awesome. I love it. And it's good. I'm just quickly going to say about that, because it's interesting what you said about the mind. And so what I believe is the trick with the mind is that the mind has two kind of what would we call it, operating stages. So it has the stage where we kind of land into the life, and we are given, we need to, through our heart, through opening and staying pure to ourselves, we can actually remove the mind's power to throw us into kind of like turmoil and trouble and carrying of rocks and so on. But when we go down to the soul level, when we get in touch with the soul, and the soul essentially can then influence and unlock the potential of our mind as a tool of good and as a tool of universal like energy. And this is what I think is the purpose why we should be working on our selves and finding our soul flow and soul connection.
That's true, but that is what most people actually, I believe that most people know that in their heart. So what is it that takes us away from that? I believe it's one thing is that our society kind of like encourages us to focus on reason.
Yeah.
And reason is lower frequency than intuition. But intuition comes from love. So reason, intuition. but I also believe that many people talk about brain-heart coherence, and I believe that it's very important that our thoughts and our emotions, feelings would be matching each other, so that there are no controversies. Because if there are any controversies, we are going to create exactly the opposite than what we would like to create.
Exactly the point.
Yeah,
and a really good point as well. It's like with everything, and I think that's where we can just finally maybe link evolution, is that evolution is always going to throw us some bones to chew on, because that's the whole point. It's a point, there is some kind of point about learning as well. So even when you go to higher frequency, your bones will not end. And this is why I also think that we can be at peace with ourselves about this purpose of life and everything, because it's such a grand thing that there is no reason to pursue an answer on that. There is a reason to pursue the optimal state of what we can be.
Definitely, because actually, I believe some of us have met, or maybe all of us have met people who truly can express their higher being, like some people call it soul or higher self. I have also my own aspect on those things, but people who truly can express who they are, and the feeling and the inspiration that we get from those people is I believe that's the kind of guidance that we all need. But why is it that we try to seek the information and seek the guidance from kind of different sources? This is what is kind of like what's been amazing me, because we all know that if we will follow the steps of Jesus, we will find the inner peace, we will find the inner joy, the inner love, and we could express all of those. But what happens? Why do we choose these kind of different role models for us, and how does it happen? What do you find about that? What do you think?
Aapo, do you want to start?
Yeah, we definitely get lost in life easily, and that must be a kind of one that's just, I don't have a big key here, and that's probably the adventure, to get lost in the mind and in the outside world. And then it's like the flow book says differentiation and then integration. We get lost, and then we learn other experiences and other things, and then we come back to our center, heart connection, and that's the integration part. Differentiation, integration, and that's life expansion, contraction. It's part of life, day and night, the circle of life. And like in the life orienteering, we have this heart compass, and that's so beautiful when you really truly find back to your center. And you can learn to do it like daily or hourly. So the time difference goes shorter and shorter when you start using these tools. So you're not lost for years anymore. You may be lost one day, 1 week, or 1 day, or as long as you get centered back. And then the hard compass, as everyone knows, the needle of the compass, it's like swirling around. And when you put two compasses together like this, then they are like distracting each other. So if you're in a group, someone has the other needle, so needle showing to other direction, and like we three of us are our own hard compass needles. And if we are three of them, they are like going like this, and we are learning and experiencing. Then when we get ourselves back alone, then there is only one direction where the needle shows. So when you have your hard compass working, it's only one, and you don't have to think, is it this, it's clear, heart brain coheration. And also another very beautiful thing is with a compass is that when you have two compasses, you put them very close to each other, then this stops and they align into one direction, and you can do even more compasses, and that's so beautiful. So in a relationship with partner or a bigger group, you can align yourself, your heart lines together, and boom, then comes the powerful freedom energy.
That's the thing. I think really well explained, because I think that's exactly one of the points is that there is kind of like cause and effect, I guess, causality in things. So when things, and this is kind of the compass thing, so it starts to go, it's like, one thing, and it's like a road, we're walking our road, where is our road taking us? But in the end, like with a lifespan, most people are able to clear a lot of their kind of blocks towards the end, because they have to open up. If they haven't done it through their lives, when they are facing death, they will, a lot of people will be able to very, very quickly, even in those final days or moments, even they can clear a lot of those things, because there is a reason about existence, I think, which is that there is a purity to it. It's kind of like the game of life then, so at the end you'll be you get to see what you maybe should have realized earlier. So, but it's like this, it's there, it's the opportunity is constantly there, but we are kind of led, the world is also providing us with this making it a game, where we can choose to go towards things that may not be the right thing. And I do strongly believe that there is purpose in choice. So also when we are going somewhere what we don't understand, or why this did this happen to me, I did explain this to Aapo as well recently about the importance of understanding that we cannot always like reach something if we don't go where we what seems to be wrong. So it's like intuition takes us to places that necessarily isn't always, it doesn't make sense, but in when you look at it in 100 years, you're like, yeah, and that was a good thing. So it's something with the mystic that is part of this that probably we don't really understand so well yet. But if we're open to things and curious, we can grow quicker within it and make choices. It's probably how the timeline, how much can we fit into a life that changes for people.
Yeah, definitely. So I also believe that we are here to learn and actually to remember also who we are and what we really can accomplish. What is our true power? That's something that we need to find. And yeah, definitely we are guided to experience things that help us remember. And some people call those lessons. And usually funny thing about our development is that the lessons, they never stop until we learn. And seldom do they get easier towards the end until we learn, but they get harder and harder. So that is truly what happens. And I believe that there there's a higher part of us that kind of guides us to fulfill what we are here to fulfill, and we cannot stop it. So we are kind of going wherever our soul is taking us. But we can enjoy about as you said, if we are curious and if we are excited and we have joy in us, and we meet anything what comes towards us with these kind of like qualities, I believe that it's very different experience than when we are trying to hold on to something and keep and drag some old memories and everything that's in the past with us. It's very hard for us, and it's a lot of suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. Letting go. That's one key learning. Just physically, now when you're watching there, you can feel, try to grasp on something and then let it go, open. And that opens space for the freedom. It's like physical training and also in mind, and then other things in life as well. Let it flow. Easier said than done. Anyway, practice makes it easier.
All right, I think we have to kind of call it a day, because this topic is absolutely vast. But I think we opened up some really interesting dimensions of a very, very, very important thing to talk about. I think people don't talk about it enough, and so maybe that's something that I'll now encourage all of you listeners, is that why don't you open up that discussion with maybe your relatives or your friends or somebody else? I don't know, just even a stranger in a pub, if we can go to anything like that anymore. But it's it's the point that you can help your curiosity also by taking charge. So don't sit back and do as Yoda would say, go and face your darkness and find your light and whatever else. So, and we'll all be happier for it. Thanks very much, guys, for your time. It's been absolutely amazing. Let's do this again sometime.
Yes, thank you all. Much love to you all.
Cheers. Bye.